All right, so this question's been coming my way for a minute. So, basically what this question comes down to for anybody who sent this to me, this is just a poorly written problem. Like, that's it. Whoever wrote this problem either wrote it A, to just spark conversation or whatever, or like just does not know how to articulate what they're writing or what they're representing. The true answer to this problem can really only be given if the problem had context. Like, what's it supposed to be representing right now? So if this was mapped to a real world problem, then you can really say like whether it's written incorrectly or what. But because we don't have that, it's open to interpretation. So people basically interpret this problem one of two ways. And really it comes down to this right here, this division symbol, right? So, okay, so here's the prereq for this. If you don't have this understanding, then you could just stop this video right now. You need to understand and be confident that division and fractions are the same thing, okay? Before we go any further, if you don't know that fractions are division problems, then you might just want to just check out right now, okay? Because I'm not going to go back and reteach that skill. But that is something that needs to be prereq understood in order to determine how to solve this. The other thing is, I'm sorry if I'm going quickly, but you got to realize that like PEMDAS for me is like fluent. So just like how you read and you don't go like when you're spelling the word or reading the word cat, you're not like act. You don't sound that out anymore, right? Because you're beyond that. Same thing with PEMDAS. We don't really sound that as fluent now, okay? So some of those things are just, that's my just heads up warning, whatever have you. All right, so you either looked at this problem and said 6 squared divided by 2, right? And then times 3 plus 4, or you said 6 squared and the whole thing, 2 parentheses 3 plus 4 is being divided. So what does that look like? What do I mean? All right, so over here, this is if you thought that everything to the right of that division sign was being divided, all right? Now, over here, this is if you thought that it was just the 2 that was being divided, all right? So those are the two ways that this problem is typically interpreted, and that gives people different answers and sparks the conversation. Which one is it? And all honestly, it's just a poorly written question. It should have even been either been written like this or written like this. If your teacher gave you this problem, let me not do that. All right, so how would you solve it if this is how you interpreted it, right? If you just thought that everything to the right of that division symbol was being divided, then that means that you're going to end up with, where am I? Okay, so 36 divided by 2, that's 7 times 2, which is 14. Ultimately, 36 divided by 14, we can reduce that at least by, 2? So that gives me 18 over 7. We can change it to a mixed number if you want and just do 2. My remainder is 4. Okay? So either you got 2 and 4/7 is what you should have gotten if that's how you interpreted the problem, all right? Now let's say that you just thought that 2 was the only thing being divided, all right? If that's the case, then what you should have there is, this is 36 times 7. Ultimately, this whole thing is being divided by 2, right? 36 times 7, well, 30 times 7 is 210. 6 times 7 is 42. Add that up, that's 252. Divided by 2. So we're going to half that. All right, so half of 200 is 100, and half of 52 is 26. So that should be 126. Why can't I write? There we go. All right, so sorry if I was off camera. I'm holding and writing at the same time. So you have 2 possible solutions to this poorly written problem, but ultimately it really comes down to how did you interpret the question, all right? And yes, this is open into interpretation because it's a poorly written problem, and without actually knowing what it represents, you can't even say like which one it was supposed to be, you know? So yeah, that is all.